really terrible things here. And for many of the girls that work on 136 or 130, whether they go with customers or not, they are here as a direct result of our actions here. And that's a fact. Here in Cambodia, like when you walk out, down any of the streets on any given night, there's girls in salons getting their hair done and makeup, nails, all that sort of stuff, just like they do in the West. And they're all hoping to meet Mr. Right, just like in the West. But if you're an Australian and you go to America, you go out and you meet some nice American girl and you go home, you tell them a story. You went to America, you met a nice girl, she was an American. Do the same thing here in Cambodia or Thailand. These countries in like Southeast Asia or Mexico, Central or South America. It is a completely different story. All of a sudden, you're a sexpat, right? Which is just code for racism. And it's so true, you often hear when a daughter meets a prospective husband, the father would be like, does he have prospects, good job, could come from a good family, that sort of stuff. So it could be argued that it's just more expensive prostitution. But I also would argue that what you get here is actually more in keeping with a healthy relationship than what you get through more sort of conventional means. And the reason for that is because it is all out in the open. There is no, funny business about it. The Khmer have got a saying here. Often the girls, if they think you're too good looking or too good to be true, they just won't go out with you. But they've got a saying here, good to look, not good to eat, which basically means that, we don't care what you look like. What sort of a provider are you going to be? That's a common thing. These people are here to sustain themselves, and they have created a market here that mainly sells alcohol, but it also sells everything else that you get everywhere else around the world. But you come and do it here as an Englishman in Cambodia. You're a sexpat. Same Englishman goes to Scotland? No. What is the difference? Between a group of girls up in Bristol getting dressed up in their high heels and heading to Sussex for a nightclub night with their lipstick on and their nails done, hoping that guy buys her a drink, has a nice car, to you coming here and meeting someone who's just looking to make a good life. You just might meet someone that is right for them and realise all of their dreams. It is exactly the same thing. But that same guy, come here and you are a sexpat. That is racism. That is exactly what that is. If it's Bangkok or it's Phnom Penh, they talk about China in this respect as well, Vietnam. It's a sexpat. This is racism. It's also demonization of the guys that come here. Not every expat is a sexpat. But you go into Central or South America, Southeast Asia, especially Southeast Asia, you're a sexpat. That's what you are. You're not an expat, you're a sexpat. If an American comes from New York City, flies into Brisbane or Sydney, spends a week there, meets a nice girl that just happens to be wearing high heels and lipstick. He just met, a nice Australian girl and, went out on a date. Do the same thing in Southeast Asia. Automatically, you're a sexpat. Get yourself a girlfriend in Southeast Asia. She's definitely a prostitute. Must be. It's Southeast Asia. But the same assumption is not made in other parts of the world, like in the West. And it is something that's quite prolific in our press. It's almost as if these terms have been created to demonize these people. And also to demonize the people that are actually coming here. Are there people that come here just for that? Well, are there people that go to Vegas to meet strippers? Definitely. But at the same time, you don't hear this bandied around in those other areas. So that's what that is. That is racism. There's also an element of bitter jealousy as well. I mean, you get a lot of people that don't travel, that don't understand, and often will get, quite bitter about it, quite jealous. They have all these wild ideas of exactly what it's like here. Look, your even wildest imagination could not even go even remotely close enough. Yeah, so that's what that is. So for all of you guys that get all apologetic about coming to Southeast Asia, a little bit embarrassed about what people think and stuff like that, don't. Because it's just discrimination. It is just racism. And that is all that is. These people are no more. In fact, so very, very often, so very, very much less prostitute than what we are. And that's putting it really nicely. I mean, look at the divorce rate back home. The family unit here in Southeast Asia, even in broken homes or in, situations where there's no mum and dad for whatever reason, whether it be death or relationships didn't work out or what have you, is so much more centered around the whole family. You very rarely see a situation where a mother or a father don't see their children. It's especially in the poorer regions and stuff like that. You don't also hear the screaming children too. Like the kids here, they're cared for. Often, they don't have childcare, for instance. So these children are being brought up by their siblings, by their grandmothers, sometimes grandfathers, that sort of stuff. There's always somebody there to catch them when they're 4. So they're not left wanting. So I genuinely could not only argue that these people are significantly less prostitute than what many of us end up being. Often we sell out. We have this fantasy, this fairy tale that we tell ourselves of what we want. And then when we don't get that, we sell out for safety. And often that involves compromising our heart. Marrying for the security that, money can afford. As opposed to that niggling feeling in your heart that's wanting fulfillment, which so many of us just don't get. And I get that.